Welcome to the Cookbook, where we invite guests on to share the ingredients of what has helped make them the successes that they are. All of it, the good, the not so good. You're not going to find anything half-baked here. And our kitchen gets messy sometimes. That's when the fun starts. So come on and join us. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Cookbook. I'm your host, Iris Goldfeder, and today I'm here with Kofi, our producer, and we're just going to kind of talk a little bit about the first two seasons of the podcast, and we're really excited because we're on YouTube and where all the podcasts live. We're also going to be on Apple TV and Roku, which is really kind of exciting. So let's bring Kofi on.
Hey Iris, how are you today?
I am wonderful.
Good.
Yeah, so it's just so kind of surreal when I think of where this started and how it all started. And, it started with you saying, hey, you should do video. And I was like, I should never be doing video.
Correct.
And then COVID hits. And actually, the first video we did was right before COVID hit.
It was.
Right? We did like 4 or 5 videos. And I remember we did it and we showed Amanda. So how does this look? And Amanda said, you look great. I was like, no, it looks like crap. And she was like,
you were 100% convinced at that point in time that no, I don't look, I should never do video. No one wants to see me. I'm like, I don't know what I could do in front of video. I'm like, Iris, you are a performer. Why wouldn't you want to be on video?
Yeah. I just, I didn't see it, I guess. And I think at that particular point in time, right before COVID hit, a lot of things personally were happening. So I think I just wasn't in like the right space. But then when COVID hit and everything just went online, I took advantage of Nina Farip and Clockworks or Clockwise. Oh my God. I forgot the name of their freaking
Clockwise.
Clockwise. How did I? Anyway. Edit that. And Clockwise. But I took advantage of the video challenge. And what I came to realize was that, because I was worried about the way that I looked, and it was like only models and famous people do video stuff, or influencers, or, whatever. And then I remember, like, after doing 2 months of her challenges, like, we were in the throes of COVID at that point, and nobody was going to, including celebrities, nobody was getting their hair done. Nobody was leaving the house. So everybody looked like crap. And the most important, right? And the most important thing was the message.
Yeah.
And I think that was really, I think what got me to go, okay, so maybe video is a thing.
Yeah.
And then you started actually editing them back then to add a little bit of panache to them.
A little sauce.
A little sauce. Like to call it. Yeah, there you go. And then after, all of that, I got sick with COVID, which, and then I guess I didn't realize that, because everybody always has that, they find out that they're dying and they have their life flash before their eyes. I didn't know. Like, nobody told me that I almost died. Right. So after my year checkup, when I went to the doctor and he said, oh, by the way, you're going to be okay. And I said, what do you mean? I'm like, what are you talking about? And then pretty much, you almost died. It was like, what? And then to find out, oh, well, then hell, let's do the things. And that was when I think I called you like on the way home from the doctor. And it was like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah. I remember getting that call. You were like, I just left the doctor. I'm going to start living my life. Let's do the podcast. And I'm like, okay,
yeah,
let's do the podcast. We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I convinced you of it. And I'm glad that you let me actually talk you into it, and that we've continued to do this. Now, now we're at a year, almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. Actually.
A little over 2 years, actually.
Yeah, because we started in April, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Because March, April.
There, next month, we're in about April.
Yeah,
so
we're
it's
just
almost
about
2
2
years.
years. I know, it's kind of crazy. Like, who would have thought?
I'm glad I taught you into it, and I'm glad that you enjoy it. I really I knew that you would be good at this. Like I said, you're naturally an entertainer. This is what you do. Also, you're also very inquisitive, and you're very compassionate with people. So you talking to people, you bring out stuff that I don't think people think that they know. You're like almost. I mean, we're gonna say for now, low level Larry King.
Larry King.
But I mean, I thought this would be something great. And then over the last, 2 seasons, we talked about this after the first season. But after this second season, this podcast has become quite a bit. Like it's a lot. I don't know if it was exactly what we all envisioned, but I think it's actually better than what we envisioned
100%.
At this point. And
yeah,
it's been crazy. It's been a cool ride.
Yeah, and I think it started about entrepreneurship and the kitchen getting messy because we were talking about the journey, but I don't think that we realized the journeys that people had, right? I mean, the depth of the journeys, the intensity of the journeys. I mean, Paul Sinelli, was in an 8-year abusive relationship, man. And, she came out of that and built, who she is now. That was an interesting. And I think that's the part, especially, with at least from I'll come this from a male standpoint, a guy standpoint, like seeing all these very powerful and really resilient women come from some things and deal with some issues that I think most of us guys to a point know that things like that go on, but seeing how they've built themselves through it and created these companies and these businesses and really taking those steps has been like very very sometimes eye-opening to me. Yeah.
Other times like, oh, well, of course she did it. Of course she did. Of course that's what she did. I mean, because it's been really cool to hear the stories and then also just really for me at least learning. I always learn something. I think you've said that on several podcasts. There's always at least once a podcast where I'm like, that's a good idea, or
I know.
I never thought about that away. And hopefully, at least from my perspective, I think in general, it's a broadened perspective, hopefully, of people that have watched it and listened. And, I'll tell you guys all that necessarily wasn't 100% the goal at the start, but, but that's what it is. And, and hopefully it will continue.
And it's so funny because, I'll be interviewing someone and they'll say something and I'll say, Kof, did you hear that? Like, because I know that you're, back there and producing it and editing it and doing all the things. And there are times that I'm just like, wow. And for me, people, I was talking to somebody today. I was talking to Jen Koken today. We had her on and we were talking this morning and I said the whole, because we talked about my journey and, I was homeless when I was 19. And she goes, well, I didn't know you were homeless. I'm like, do you listen to my podcast?
She listened to her episode and that's okay, Jen. It's okay.
So, but I think that, everybody has something. Even the most successful people out there have gone through it, right? Something. And I think that that's what this has turned into. And it started out, just about entrepreneurship and again, the journey. And now it's more about the journey than the entrepreneurship. And I still, try to pepper in a few questions because I think people expect me to ask, what advice do you have for entrepreneurs or people thinking about becoming entrepreneurs? And then the, what advice do you have for seasoned entrepreneurs? And depending on their vertical, what's their differentiator? But I think a lot of times that doesn't even have to be asked because in their story, it
tells how they got there.
And it tells why
and
they're
the adversities.
Different. Right, why they're different.
Well, I think that, I wouldn't say it's away from our initial goal. I just think that when we were starting it, we were thinking it was going to be just more of a quick fire answer, back and forth situations. But like I said, like you being such a personable person, you getting to know, and then even some of the people that you've had on the show, like it turns into like, well, how did you become an entrepreneur? And let's be honest, being an entrepreneur is an adventure.
That's a good way to put it.
We should have known there would have been a lot of the other stuff that goes along with it, and then just different perspectives on how everybody got there. But it is still it's still interesting to everyone has a similar path, but a completely different path.
Well, I always say there's like multiple doors into the same room, right?
Right. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And I think that it happened organically. Like it wasn't like where we set out to do one thing and then we were like, "Ooh, let's do this." It just happened.
Yeah.
And we didn't fight it. I think we didn't fight it. But I do think that I realized what was happening towards the beginning of the first season, like the end of the end of the first season and the beginning of the second season. I was like, this is not what it started out to be. Which was good.
I think that during the time also just in general, as you've talked about, I think we've all kind of in this day and age, we're more accepting to the possibilities of all things, a lot more things in general.
Yep.
And it's really, I think this might end up becoming shouldn't say a time capsule because I don't like to say that too much, but it might actually really become seeing that how in the last 2 years, really our culture has changed and changing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think having on Nate, my psychic, right? And then having on, and people haven't seen this episode yet, but Melissa with, being a witch, and Shoshana is going to be on and she's a witch. And it's like, like Shoshana and I joke and we said this to Melissa, I'm like witch light because, of the things. And it's like this whole spiritual thing. And it's like you said, I guess all of the things that maybe 2-3 years ago, people wouldn't be talking about.
Oh yeah.
It's just there. It's life, right? It is what it is, right? It's how things are evolving. It's how people are evolving. And we don't always get political on it. Once in a while, I get a little fiery.
Every once in a while there, Iris, you get a little.
While. It's not every episode.
True.
It's just when somebody says something and then it's like, okay, I can't shut up because it's like my head will explode. And what was the movie with? Do you ever see The Kingsman?
I have seen The Kingsman. Yes.
So at the end, when everybody's
head is
exploding, so when their heads are exploding, that's kind of how I feel sometimes, right? Like it's just going to go. And I think I'm really. I don't hold back. Because for me, it's about authenticity. Like that's what I've been talking about for years. And it's like, if I don't show up authentic, then I'm a hypocrite.
Right.
And I'm not a hypocrite. So, everybody knows how I lean. It is what it is. and with good reason, because I believe in compassion and caring about other people. I'll just leave it at that. See, here we go. Okay, I'm shutting up. I'm shutting up.
There it went.
But,
there it went. No.
but it's and I think that's part of it though, because you hear these women's stories.
Yeah.
How do you not be compassionate? I mean, I have men on here and there. I think there was only one episode that was filmed by a guy that we didn't produce, because honestly, it was like the whole episode was like a giant sales episode, and that's not what this platform is. So that's why I chose not to do it. And I never had the conversation with him. But if he watches this, he'll know now. I'm not mentioning names. But I really feel that this is more of a platform. People talk about their expertise 100%. That's their story, right? That's, their journey and then where they are and what they do. And I always say, tell me about you. But the whole thing isn't about sales. And that's what that whole episode was. And it was like, nope. And I knew that when we were done and I watched it, I was like, no, I'm not even going to air it. And that's the beauty about it being ours.
Yeah.
We can make those decisions, right? So.
And I think about that. It's cool that you like I said that you really do tap into the empathy and the journeys and the woo, as I believe you like to call it, situations. And if anybody, I mean, a lot of you guys are sort of maybe your second or third time seeing me on this camera, but I am a huge Gary Vee person, and that is just one of the things that I always thought about in business as well. I'm going to be sitting here. I've done a lot of different really cool stuff, worked on a lot of projects, but I'm not rich by any means. But a lot of that comes because I really do like to help. I think that's also one of the reasons me and Iris always have gotten along, is that we like to help. Like, I don't like to be broke. Don't get it wrong now. I'm not trying to put myself in the poorhouse, but we really like to help. Yeah. And I think that, even with this podcast, like, I think that even the people you have on, the people, the guests on, are experts in their field and they know their things, but they do have that compassion and that empathy and those things that, you would like to say that, we'd like to say that business community would have. At least that's how we'd like to see it. And then everyone kind of grow. And now you're building and you're happy and your life is complete instead of focus on work. Because I got stuck in that at one point in time in life too.
Oh, you were just grinding, and it was like, oh my God, you need to sleep.
Oh, I mean,
there was one point when you were going, and it was like
don't get me wrong, I'm still on grind mode, but it's different now though.
It is different.
Yeah. It's a completely different thing. And I did not sleep, you guys, for probably like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Like really didn't sleep for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 hours, 3 hours a night.
Which wasn't good.
Probably wasn't good, but I learned a lot, and now I'm using it now and being more effective with my time instead of working all the time.
Yes.
And so that's been one of the things. And one of the things we've learned several times for entrepreneurs on this show about making sure you have your work time, your leisure time, and your rest time, because then if you're going crazy all the time, you're not as effective as you could be.
Right.
What was it? That was the sleep. Who was the sleep person?
Molly. She's kicking off season 3 next week.
Okay. Yeah. See, like that's, okay. Yeah. We just recorded that one. Yeah. I was going to say, yeah. And then there was another lady that you had on as well, talking about that when we were talking about that she prepared the poker players. Is that the same one? Yeah, it is the same one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was Molly. The one that one really for me, at least, that's probably the biggest one for me.
She works with poker players. She works with professional athletes.
Yeah. That is one part of life that I kind of started to do on accident, but I never really thought about it as a business, 2, as something that probably every person needs to kind of hear and do.
Well, and Molly, when she was, going through that perpetual non-sleeping, phase, she had the wherewithal to and the desire to research how does she make this better, and then she just went all in.
Yeah.
Circadian rhythm, the whole thing. And I remember when I was working with her, she's like, everything has to be dark. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, everything. Like if you have one beam of light coming through your bedroom window, door, whatever, your skin absorbs it and realizes that there's still light.
There's energy. Yeah.
There's energy. So it was kind of just kind of crazy. So
yeah.
But it's about the people, especially in season 2, that I've met, that I'll be talking to them, and it's like, oh, you'd be an amazing fit for my podcast. And now I have unique voices, which is a whole, that's like a whole nother thing. And I'm getting people that are on unique voices on the podcast as well. Because they're entrepreneurs and they're amazing, business owners. I have one person that's going to be on who's a drag queen. And when they're on, she's going to be in full drag.
Okay.
So that's going to be amazing. Like we were talking yesterday and she goes, no, her name is Jessica Lahore, or Miss Jess for family friendly, but, Jessica Lahore. And she said when she's on, she is in full drag. And I got like so excited. I almost jumped out of my chair. Yes, this is going to be amazing. But that's the whole thing, right? It's like there are, in every walk of life, there are entrepreneurs.
Yes. And
that goes from straight people to gay people to, everybody. I mean, Kevin's story, you're right. I mean, it was probably worse than he made it sound, because living it is one thing. And I always go back to the conversation that we had. People get mad when I bring it up, but the night that George Floyd got killed, and you told me that I had it worse. And it was like, no. And for me, it was so eye-opening to me that you, as a Black man who you wake up Black every day, thought that because I was gay, it was worse.
Well, yeah, and I'll say this, at least this is only for me. I'm only can speak for me. I guess maybe because I was just used to it, and that's probably the worst part about it.
Right.
Like I already woke up knowing that I already have a issue. Like I'm already fully aware that I'm going to have an issue no matter what. I just am. Yeah. There's going to be people out there that are automatically going to degrade what I do and whatever just because of the color of my skin from jump. I've been taught that since I was born. So when I said that, it wasn't even a surprise when that happened to me, with the George Floyd thing. That wasn't a surprise. It's been happening. Wasn't a surprise to me. So when I said that, and I've heard you say that before, and you talked about it on the podcast a couple times where I've said that, and just so people, kind of can get a better context of that. Like, that's just, I guess that's how it is. And, but even hearing through the stories of this, like I said, like women in general, Black, white, no matter what, man, I've heard some stories in the last 2 years, you know what I'm saying? And we all, like I said, like I was saying earlier, is we kind of know that some of that stuff happens. I mean, who knows? I'm sure at some point in time, I probably perpetuated some of that at some point in time in my life. You know what I'm saying? When I was younger and didn't know any better. And it's rough, and then on top of that being, now, as we look at it, and I'm sure as you're exploring with your new show, is being, gay or LGBTQA plus, no matter Black. Oh, I'm sure it's super terrible.
Yeah.
And a don't be a woman one as well. It's probably even worse. And, but that's the thing is I think that black people and brown people, we already know there's a stigmatism towards us growing up anyway, most of the majority of us. So even though it's there, it's impact and we know it's there. But I think it's come to the point, at least for me and for, I know several others, that you just expect it. So it doesn't bother you as much, even though it probably should bother us more.
Yeah,
and so that's the and you find ways to maneuver around it. Right. That's just how it is. I mean, life. I mean, let's just keep it real here. Life isn't easy or simple.
No,
it's not supposed to be that way. If it was, then it probably wouldn't be any fun.
But it doesn't have to be hateful either, right?
But it doesn't have to be terrible, right? It doesn't have to be as bad as it is, or could be. And that's one thing. Once again, like that's cool that we've been able to with this podcast bring that to light, and then it's spinning into another podcast, another show that you now have that is exploring that deeper, because it is something that's needed. And I'm sure as we go on, and there'll be other things that will come up. I'm sure there'll be other stuff that sparks conversation and need more conversation. Mm-hmm. To the people watching and listening to this now, me and Hires have talked about really here in future, hopefully doing more roundtable type podcasts around this as well, where we can have more people involved in the conversation and creating that, because we think that that's one-on-one's really good, but when you get a room full of people,
not too many though, because really as we found out at VC Europe X, we had 7 people, and it's too much for an hour. So like 3-4 people tops, I think.
Yeah. 3 or 4 max. But just having that opportunity to really dig into a subject a little deeper.
Yeah, and I think we should have, and I know we were talking about this, and maybe once a quarter, right? Have people who think differently on.
Yeah.
And open that conversation.
Yeah.
Because that's what we need. I mean, that's what Unique Voices is about. I have this platform that, the universe has gratefully or gracefully granted me to be able to talk to all the things that are going on and talk about them, not angry. I mean, there's so many people out there that, I was listening to, I don't even remember what the hell podcast it was, but I just remember I turned it on and they were screaming, and I'm like, I don't want to hear this shit. I don't want to hear you yelling. I mean, I want to listen to this to learn something or to grow, not to hear you scream because you're unhappy about something. We're all freaking unhappy about something.
Yeah.
But we don't have to scream about it.
Yeah.
I do that.
I watch trading card podcasts and they complain about stuff all day, but I digress.
I mean, trading cards are another. Well, it was so funny. Like I said, last weekend we were at Indie Comic Con, and I didn't I knew my wife was a nerd, but I remember watching people on TV and being like, oh my God, they're so nerdy. And it was like, oh my God, this is real. And she's one of them. She is one of them. And she was talking to people about stuff, and I would just be sitting there I'm non-existent and it's okay, because this was her thing.
Yeah.
And it was really exciting. We got, got to meet, Rosario Dawson, who plays Ahsoka, because if nobody could tell, ginormous Star Wars nerds. I love Star Wars. So, it was this whole cool thing for me as well. But just to see her online, it was almost watching Sheldon Cooper and the Big Bang Theory gang, at Comic-Con. And I was like, oh my God, that's my freaking wife. It was just so funny to me, to just be witnessing it real time, and realizing that I'm married to a giant nerd. I mean, I knew I was married to a giant nerd, but it was just so funny. But, and then, Laura, who lives, on an island, she just, lives in the Caribbean or wherever she is. And I'm like, Christina, who's in Hawaii, who is the embodiment of spirituality, of deep, woo, whatever you want to call it. She is one with the land, and I just love her spirit so much. Donna Cravata. I did an interview. Pause. You froze again. What the fuck is going on with your camera? Unpause. Donna Cravata, who I did an interview with her this week for 50 over 50, and she has this interview series where she interviews women who are 50 over 50 and the accomplishments and all of that. It was an honor to be included in the ranks of those women, to be honest. And what she's done and what she's gone through. I mean, her health issues, and she just keeps going. I mean, she just keeps going, and she's got this issue with her heart, and she just had like an ablation, and a week later she's back to it. So every single one of these women, Hazel Walker, right? I mean,
yeah,
BNI,
she's the truth.
I mean, she's
a boss.
Okay, she is a boss. She's like badass.
Yeah.
And she has BNI Central Indiana, BNI Vancouver, and as a member of BNI, it was amazing having her on. And the really cool thing, we never realized how much we had in common. And I mean, after we were done, she and I were on for like 2 hours, I think, just talking about.
Oh wow.
All the oh yeah, we just like were talking and she's just incredible. And this coming season we have Lorraine Ball, and actually Lorraine Ball was the first person on this new platform that we're using. Yep. And then Deb Eckling and Ron Ben Joseph, my brother from another mother. He's just, you want to talk about an empathetic male. Somebody who gets it, and who's so good at what he does. He's just so good. He's actually helping me with my keynote stuff.
Nice.
And so we're crafting the message now, and we're going to start practicing next week. But he's just an amazing human. And Mara Whitener, and I was looking at like all these guests here, and it just blows my mind. Diane Lamb, Colleen Biggs, Leslie Urbis, talking about her, the diet. I send her shit on Facebook all the time that makes fun of like diet stuff, but she's just, like all of these people, Tiffany Smith and Allison O'Brien. Oh my God, like one of my favorite people in the world. Like I love Allison. We were out in, I was out in Denver for the Dames Fun Friends in October. And my feet, I'm getting older, so my feet are, whatever. And we went to the store and I went to buy Hoka's, and she has not let me live. Old people wear Hoka's, and I'm like, bullshit. I see like 20-year-olds wearing Hoka's. She always gives me, shit about that. But she's like amazing. And, Candy Messer and Juliet Clark, I'm lucky enough to, when I get my articles in on time, to be a contributor to, her magazine, Breakthrough Author Magazine. Connie Jones. Oh my God. Yeah,
there's, and the cool thing about it is in the more now that I'm thinking about it, all the stuff that kind of I've listened to, and, maybe this is just a shameless plug for me, but I can say you could probably go back and definitely, because the second season is a lot of episodes. Our first one was only about 16. And we decided for the second one just to keep rolling, just to keep rolling and keep going.
Yeah.
And I could honestly say I probably could go back, and as an entrepreneur, not only could I go back and get good information as far as that's concerned, I could go back and listen to each episode. And if I listen to every episode, I probably could come out definitely a full, better entrepreneur, more well-rounded entrepreneur by listening to all of the episodes and taking in a lot of the information in perspective and seeing how it could apply to whatever you're doing or whatever I'm doing. I know that's what I've been doing.
Yeah. 100%. And I think, go ahead.
And, like I said, for business wise, books, we're not even going to get into just that part. And, your health and how your health affects your business, how all the things, like literally we've had all those things get presented to us over the last year. Yeah. And I'm grateful to be able to hear it all. And once again, for shameless plug, go back and listen to the other episodes and watch the other episodes.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. And I think that the production has changed as well, right? So, I mean, for season 3, obviously, we're on a new platform and we've changed things, but
we're going to be adjusted, and you guys are going to see some different stuff as we maneuver into this new higher end recording softwares and things like that. But it's been a lot of changes.
Yeah, and it's just the evolution. And I love how we've evolved, and I love how we've evolved organically. Yeah. And I was going to talk about, Connie Jones, and, without getting, political, she is somebody who talks the talk and walks the walk. She is one of the most beautiful people, I think. Mm-hmm. And I need to reach out to her just to talk to her, because she's amazing. And I just look at the people that we have been so blessed, right? To have on this show, and to be able to talk to and learn from, and hell, I teach them things too. And to me, that's the biggest, for me, I think that's what blows my mind, because, people look at me now as a thought leader, and I just never in a million years thought that was never on my radar. I know you did, but it was, but it wasn't, you can say TYS, right? Told you so. But it just wasn't on my radar for me. And this has, I'm going to get teary. I have grown so much as a human, as an entrepreneur. And it's like each time we do an interview, it's almost like, little shop of horrors, feed me, Seymour. It's like, what else can I absorb, and what else can I learn? And how do I become a better human? Besides entrepreneurship and all that, I mean, business is business, but how do you become a better human? And every single one of these people, male, female, whoever has been a guest on this show from day one, has helped us become better humans.
Yeah. And
that's why I feel so lucky and fortunate and grateful, and all the things. I'm right there, but I will second that. Yeah. I'll second that. Yeah.
And, and also for me as well, because I am, I know you're more woo than I am, but I am a Sagittarius, and my girlfriend's very woo as well. Like you guys are not patient.
I've gotten better. I have gotten better. That's my wife. You know me like 19 years. Yes.
And, but a lot of this comes from even like listening to people and listening to their stories and their journeys. And, I think you say it all the time, and I think it's 100% true. Most the general public with any business, any person that has any type of success, most people think it just happens overnight. It does not.
It takes 10 years to become an overnight success.
At minimum. I'm going to say at minimum 10. Yeah. Unless you just have a whole bunch of money. To start off with.
People lose
it. And even then, yeah, sometimes even then people still, it doesn't matter. Like, they're just spending money for 10 years. Yeah. Thank God it's not me, but, I think, like I said, I'm appreciative of, like I said earlier, of me convincing you to do this, of you letting me do this, and then all the guests we've had on. I'm really looking forward to, this next full season 3. Who knows where it'll take us?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be good. That's for sure. And yeah, that's really just kind of how I feel about where we're at this far. And I'm just glad. Hopefully, you guys continue to join us on this journey.
Yeah, and we've been on this journey for 19 years, right?
Yeah.
You and I, and I think that who would have thought that day that we were sitting in the bar going, what the hell is wrong with those people? That 18 years, 19 years later, we would be here. And it's just so cool to me because we've been this constant in each other's lives.
Yeah.
And I love you like a brother.
Yeah. I got you.
And, it's...
Just in case you guys know, Iris does like to irritate you like a sister sometimes.
No, that's it. My job.
I do the same. I do the same.
It does. But, it works both ways. But I think
it works both ways, 100%.
I think this partnership, out of all the partnerships I've had, this partnership is something that is just so near and dear to my heart. And, you are, and, I can thank you every day for convincing me to do this. Because this has just been one of the greatest privileges that I've had, and to be able to keep doing it. And, like you said, who knows what season 3 is going to bring, who we're going to have on. Like, we've already started and we have like amazing people. We're like, I think 6 episodes under our belt already. And with like, we're booked out through June at this point.
Yeah.
So, it's people keep wanting to be on. And, I do want to say something. It's like, I always say, go out and share and download and, like, and all those things are important. But what's really important about this is whether people download it or not. And I always encourage people to do that. It's, what are you getting from this?
Yeah.
What lessons are you learning from this? And are you growing? Are you growing from listening to these, to my guests' stories? Our guests, really, and at the end of the day. So I think, thank you for doing what you do, because this wouldn't be what it is without you. It wouldn't. You add your Kofi flair to it, and it's like magic.
Has some sauce.
You got your sauce. You got your secret sauce, your special sauce. I don't believe in secrets, or your special sauce.
Yeah, no secrets.
Yeah, and to all of my past guests who are going to be on again, we're going to have other people on, again.
We definitely need to have some of our past guests back on again.
Michelle Stowe and Scott Span, Squirrel, Scott and I.
Yeah.
Amy Burks, I got to get her back on. I love Amy Burks. I think Elaine Williams booked to be back on.
Yes.
Rejade.
She was our second guest. Rejade, she definitely needs to come back on.
Oh, she's coming back on. Just, all of it, this has been such an amazing ride. And the fact that we just get to keep riding this wave is just amazing. So I'm going to thank everybody.
Yes. We thank all of you.
We thank all of you. We both, I know it's usually just me at the end, but this time, this is us speaking. We appreciate you so much. And we appreciate you tuning in and giving us this opportunity to keep on keeping on. And just keep watching. And I am going to say, like, share, subscribe. If you, whatever you've gotten from this, share it, download, do all the things.
All the things.
And until next time, you want to say it with me?
Wait. No. Iris, before we leave.
Yes.
Tell me what lights your fire.
Oh, okay. What lights my fire? This getting to, oh God, I'm going to get teary. Whew. Getting to be able to do this, getting to be able to do unique voices, getting to be able to run my business. it's getting to be able to do all these things. So many people are like, I have to do this, or, I need to do this. I get to do this. I get to speak to these amazing, amazing entrepreneurs. I get to help amazing entrepreneurs grow their business. And I get to give the LGBTQIA plus community a platform as well. So I get to do so many amazing things. And that's what lights my fire.
There we go.
So
now you can finish the show.
All right. So until next time, and we can say this together, go out and find what lights
your fire.
See you, everyone.
See you guys.